Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Jamaica News in Review. 5 shot at event in Manchester. 5 people, including a woman, were shot during an fun-day event in Kingston, Manchester on Tuesday night. Head of the Manchester Police Superintendent Shane McCullough told reporters that the incident, which happened shortly after 11 p.m., was an unprovoked and senseless act. It is a yearly event that is always peaceful with a fun day. The information that we have so far is that 2 men on a bike rode up minutes after 11 p.m., opened fire indiscriminately at persons standing outside the venue, stated McCullough. The annual event, conceptualized by Lennox Peter Powell, was held in memory of his passing in June. McCullough said a motive has not yet been established for the shooting. 5 people were rushed to hospital where they have been admitted in stable condition. There is a strong possibility that there will be abandoned events from now leading to the New Year's Eve. This will be done on a case-by-case assessment. Intelligence will have to be assessed, reassessed, and we will do a review of the decision within the first week of January, stated McCullough. Man killed, daughter hospitalized in motorbike crash. A man has died and his adult daughter is receiving treatment at hospital following an early morning crash in Montego Bay, St. James on Wednesday. The deceased has been identified as 43-year-old Marlon Allen, a resident of Woodland in Hanover. According to police reports, the crash occurred just about 6 a.m. Reports are that Allen and his daughter were traveling on a motorcycle when, upon reaching the intersection of Alice L. Murder Drive and Bogue Road, there was a collision with a Toyota Wish. Both Allen and his daughter were reportedly thrown from the motorcycle. They were rushed to hospital where Allen died. The police are investigating the collision. 2 artists, 2 patrons charged after sting brawl. Dancehall artist Fully Dunce and Harbour City, along with 2 members of the public, have been arrested and charged with disorderly conduct following the stage of the annual Sting event at the Jamwell Entertainment Complex in Portmore, St. Catherine. The entertainers are scheduled to appear in the St. Catherine Parish Court on January 24, 2024. Coyote, who was also detained, was released without charge. The individuals charged after the brawl are Nicholas Ricardo Bradley, also known as Fully Bad, a recording artist from Kingston 8, and Leighton Sims, also known as Harbour City, a recording artist from Kingston 19. The members of the public charge were Rushing Shavar Williams, a mason of Slaggovely, St. Catherine, and Dalton Deraldo Bartley, also known as Dino, a musician from Kingston 8. According to police reports, Bartley and Sims were performing on stage when they started a fight, disrupting the event. Williams and Bartley also joined in the brawl, leading to further disruption. As a result, all 4 men were charged for their conduct. Senior Superintendent of Police Christopher Phillips, head of the St. Catherine South Division, praised the Sting organizers for their inclusive approach in planning and preparing for the event. Notwithstanding this unfortunate incident, credit must be given to the promoters for the inclusive approach taken in the planning and preparation for the event. It was as a result of the level of preparation with the police were able to quickly quell the disturbance. It was obvious that the youngsters were inexperienced and psychologically unprepared, Phillips told reporters. Police corporal, 1 of 2 killed in St. Anne crash. A police corporal is 1 of 2 men who died in a motor vehicle collision in St. Anne's Bay, St. Anne on Sunday evening. The deceased are Corporal Hampton Russell, attached to the Claremont Police Station, and Akeem Fulton of Bel Air District, Runaway Bay in the parish. Reports are that the crash occurred around 8 p.m. and involved a black Nissan LaFista car driven by Corporal Russell and a grey Toyota Axio motor car. Lawmen say Corporal Russell was driving his motor car in the westerly direction along the Richmond Main Road when the driver of the Toyota Axio motor car, which was proceeding in the opposite direction, overtook a line of traffic and collided head-on with the Nissan. Both Corporal Russell and Fulton, who were traveling in the Nissan, received multiple injuries and were pronounced dead on arrival at the St. Anne's Bay Hospital. Woman killed in St. Anne crash Christmas morning. An unidentified woman died from injuries sustained in a motor vehicle collision on the Longdove Main Road in St. Anne on Christmas Day. Police say the crash involved a Subaru Impreza motor car and a red Toyota Tercel. Reports are that around 1:53 a.m., both vehicles were traveling in opposite directions when the driver of the Toyota reportedly lost control of the vehicle and collided with the Subaru Impreza. Lawmen say the unidentified woman and 3 other people who were in the Toyota received injuries and were taken to the St. Anne's Bay Hospital. The woman later succumbed to her injuries. The driver of the Subaru reportedly fled the scene. This is the 3rd fatal collision the parish has recorded in 3 days, bringing the number of road fatalities to 42 from 40 fatal crashes. Constant Spring Police seized pistol on Red Hills Road. The Constant Spring Police seized one Ruger 9mm pistol fitted with a magazine containing 10 9mm rounds of ammunition during an operation on Red Hills Road, St. Andrew on Friday. Reports from the police are that about 3:50 p.m., lawmen conducted a search of a premises when the firearm was found in the roof of the house. No one was arrested in relation to the seizure. Investigations continue. Man stabbed to death by a woman in Rollington Town. A man was stabbed to death by a woman in Rollington Town, Kingston East, at the weekend. The deceased is 27-year-old Roger Kelly, otherwise called Jigger, a musician of Dunwoon Avenue, Kingston 2. Police reports are that about 10 p.m. on Friday, Kelly got into an argument with a woman when another woman intervened and stabbed him with a pair of scissors. The police were summoned and he was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Manchester man accused of stealing shopkeeper's keys, breaking into shop. A man was charged after he allegedly stole a shopkeeper's key and accesses the premises in Watermount District Force in Manchester on Wednesday. Charged with shop breaking and larceny of a dwelling is 21-year-old LJ Smith of Redbury District Force in the parish. Reports from the Perth police are that about 2 p.m., a man left his grocery shop keys and his cellular phone on his bed and went to the back of the house to do a task. Upon his return to the room, he noticed that the shop keys and his cellular phone were missing. The following day, the man was reportedly informed that Smith was using the keys to enter his shop unauthorized. The shop owner reported the matter to the police and Smith was apprehended and searched. During the search, the man's shop keys were reportedly found in Smith's possession. Following a question and answer session with his attorney, Smith was charged. However, his court date has not been finalized. Phillips says the transport sector needs designated enforcement body. Opposition spokesman on transport Michael Phillips says the transport sector needs a designated enforcement body. His response follows concerns raised by a recent virtual meeting of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services STADS about overcharging in the record system. Mr. Phillips says he believes the Transport Authority, operating both as a regulating body and an enforcement body, is affecting the proper and effective operations of the record service. He believes the transport sector should speak with one voice.
The Transport Authority was set up as a regulating body. It has morphed itself in a regulating and enforcement body. I've always said that the enforcement side to the public transport should be removed from the Transport Authority and they regulate the sector. And then with that comes even also with the dealing with the records and all of that. If we are to talk plainly, there's too much corruption in the record system. And that is something within the new year that has to be looked at and dealt with. I believe that the Transport Authority ought to get back to its core function of regulating and leaving enforcing for another body. What body that is, we'll have to decide on the makeup of that body. But I don't think that the Transport Authority ought to be doing enforcing and regulating at the same time. Part of the problem within the sector is that the sector itself is more political than both political parties. And what has happened is that it suffers because the sector itself has not been able to speak with one voice. What I would love to see is seeing the sector more vocal, coming together as a unified body. The voice of the sector is more powerful than any spokesperson or any minister. And it doesn't have to be that you go and lock down the sector. But if everybody come to the table and speak with one voice, believe me, be it PMP or JLP in power, you will see that you will get way more done.
3 stabbed to death at the weekend. At least 3 people were stabbed to death across the island over the weekend. In the latest incident, about 1 o'clock on Sunday, 24-year-old Stephen McLaughlin was stabbed to death in Kingston, Manchester. Police say McLaughlin and another man had an altercation when they both pulled knives at each other. It is reported that McLaughlin was later found with stab wounds in his chest. He was pronounced dead at hospital. In the other incident on Saturday, 30-year-old Anthony Henry, a chef of Page District in Port Maria, St. Mary, was stabbed to death by a man in his community. Police say about 7 p.m., Henry was stabbed after a dispute developed between him and the other man. The police were alerted and Henry was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. In the third incident, 27-year-old Roger Kelly, otherwise called Jigger, a musician of Noon Avenue, Kingston 2, was stabbed to death by a woman in Wallington Town, Kingston. Police say that about 10 p.m. on Friday, Kelly got into an argument with a woman when another woman intervened and stabbed him with a pair of scissors. The police were summoned and he was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. The police are investigating the incidents. Hopewell High School principal released from custody. The principal of Hopewell High School in Hanover, who was taken into custody last week as a person of interest following the murder of the school's bursar, has been released. Reporters were informed that the principal was released Friday evening after several days in custody. He was questioned about the shooting death of the bursar, 35-year-old Jermaine Roberts. Mr. Roberts was shot on the school compound on Wednesday about 3:20 p.m. The police was informed that the attack was carried out by an unidentified person who witnesses described as approximately 6 feet 2 inches tall, wearing a floral hoodie. The principal was reportedly wounded in the attack and was taken to hospital for treatment. Head of the Area 1 headquarters, Assistant Commissioner Clifford Chambers, told reporters that the principal was listed as a person of interest as the cops tried to identify the person who carried out the gun attack. In the meantime, Leighton Johnson, president of the Jamaica Teachers Association, says the association is closely monitoring the situation at the school, adding that the association is deeply concerned about the unfolding events. Fisherman killed in bar dispute in Westmoreland. A fisherman was shot dead at a bar in Retreat, Little London in Westmoreland on Boxing Day. He has been identified as 33-year-old Gemma Rankin of the community. Reports from the police are that Rankin was involved in a physical altercation with a man at a bar at 12:30 a.m., shortly after which loud explosions sounding like gunshots were heard. The now deceased was seen running from the said bar along the roadway and subsequently collapsed. Rankin was found suffering from a gunshot wound to the chest. He was assisted to the Savannah Lamar Public General Hospital by residents, but he was pronounced dead on arrival. Police data shows that as of December 16, 113 persons have been killed in the parish compared to 139 during the corresponding period in 2022. Investigations are ongoing. Man on bike killed by gunman on bike on Christmas Day. A motorcyclist was shot dead by another along the Fullersfield Main Road in Grange Hill, Westmoreland on Monday. The deceased has been identified as 31-year-old Andina Reid, otherwise called Dina, from Paul Island District in Grange Hill. Reports reaching reporters are that around 1:30 p.m., Reid was riding his motorcycle along the roadway when he was pounced upon from behind by two men traveling on another motorbike. The pillion, the police said, brandished a firearm and opened gunfire, hitting Reid in his upper body. Reid lost control of the motorcycle, which collided with a perimeter fence, and he fell to the ground. The gunman escaped on the motorcycle. The police were summoned, and Reid was seen lying on his face with what appeared to be multiple gunshot wounds to the upper body. Police transported Reid to the Savannah Public General Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. 6 9mm Spence casings were found on the scene. No motive has been established for the attack. Man shot dead by an off-duty cop in Westmoreland. An off-duty police officer shot and killed a gunman in Sheffield, Westmoreland on Christmas Day. The deceased has been identified as 33-year-old Omar Brown from the community. Reports from the police are that the off-duty cop was at his home, standing at his gate shortly after 10 p.m. when he heard loud explosions sounding like gunshot some meters away from where he was standing. It is alleged that the cop then saw Brown running towards him with a firearm in his hand and ordered the now deceased to drop the weapon. Brown allegedly did not comply and then pointed the gun at the officer. According to the police, the off-duty cop, in fear of his life, pulled his Glock pistol and fired in the direction of Brown, hitting the gunman, who then fell to the ground holding onto a black firearm. The firearm was thereafter seized and found to be a Taurus GC3 pistol with serial number erased and loaded with a magazine with 3 live rounds. The police were summoned and the now deceased was seen lying on his back with gunshot wounds to the head and the abdomen. He was later transported to the hospital by the police, where he was pronounced dead. 50-year-old fatally stabs man flees Jamaica, held and deported on Christmas. 5 years after 31-year-old Toloma Thomas was stabbed to death at Upper Oxford Street, Kingston 14, a 50-year-old man of the same address has been charged with his murder. He is Omar Burford, otherwise called Guns and Gunners. The police said Burford was arrested overseas and deported on December 21. He was handed over to local law enforcers and charged with the murder on Christmas Day. Reports from the Denham Town Police are that in September 2018, Thomas and Burford were at their Upper Oxford Street address when an argument developed between them. The argument reportedly escalated and became physical. During the tussle, a knife was used to inflict multiple stab wounds to Thomas' head and neck. Thomas was assisted to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Burford was arrested overseas and deported to Jamaica last week. A court date has not yet been finalized for the accused. Old Harbour Bay man shot multiple times while heading home. A man was shot multiple times by gunmen while making his way home in Old Harbour Bay, St. Catherine Monday night. The injured man remains in hospital. His attackers are being sought by the police. The police report that about 11:40 p.m., the man was riding his bike along a dirt track on his way home when he was pounced upon by 3 gunmen who opened fire. He was hit several times, including the abdomen. The gunmen then escaped in the area. Residents then took the injured man to the Spanish Town Hospital, where he was admitted for treatment. The police were summoned and upon arrival at the scene, several spent casings were discovered. The Old Harbour Criminal Investigations Branch is investigating. 6 people arrested after guns seized in police operation. The Kingston Eastern Police on Monday seized a 9mm pistol along with a magazine containing 2 9mm cartridges along the Bull Bay Main Road. 6 people were taken into custody. The police report that about 12:37 p.m., acting on information, a team of lawmen signaled the driver for white Toyota Probox motor car to stop. He complied. The vehicle and its occupants were searched. The police said during the search of the vehicle, the firearm and ammunition were discovered in the front passenger door of the vehicle. The 6 passengers were taken into custody. Their names are being withheld pending further investigations. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell